Speed, an obsession that mankind has never quite been satisfied with. So it was to satiate the need to go faster than faster that motorsport came into being. And it is speed that puts the sport in motorsport.
Racing is all about finesse, precision, smoothness, consistency, and also being quick.
Motorsport is expensive, it is highly demanding, and also highly dangerous.
Money is, of course, a big issue, because it's a lot of money what you have to pump in, especially if you have to go for overseas races. In India, still, we can manage. But when you do overseas races, I think at one moment of time, then you have to look for sponsors. And I think if he's performing well, if he's up on the top position, top 5 in Asia, I think somebody in India would probably come forward and say, okay, I see the potential in the kid, I put my bet on him, let him race, go to Europe, get the best coaches, and there you never know, that suddenly some big team picks the guy up.
Formula One is the single-seater pinnacle example. I mean, it's become a money sport. It requires the money because it's technically, an expensive sport, so it has to come from somewhere. The drivers are, the key asset, so the sponsorship and the, visibility is, what will attract revenues to the sport. So I think that it's absolutely become a money sport at the top. The concern is if it becomes a money sport going further and further down. So, going into the kind of mid-stage of people's careers, and if that starts to translate into, into carts or entry level, then that would be a real shame, because the talent is out there, but it's not like a football or a cricket or a basketball where, the equipment needs and the facilities are very limited, so you can identify talent all around the world at all stages. So currently, I think that there is the ability for people to enter. Sacrifices have to be made, but I do reserve some concern that it's becoming a bigger barrier even at the early stages.
Every father and every mother who's standing over here remembers God, please keep my child safe, because it's racing, it's fast, it's quick. Okay, these guys are trained for that, I mean, they have been training, fighting together, bumper to bumper. They know the limitations, they know their breaking points, they know how close they can get. But still, as parents, we feel, and we thank God after the race that podium or not, but the guys are safe, the kids are safe. It is a beautiful feeling,
It is not for the faint of heart, because here you don't just need the skill, you also need will, and both those things have to be clad in iron.
I want to win each and every race, so if I win each and every race, I'm going to be, of course, number one in the points.
Well, I just love racing. It's that feel you get when you're driving behind someone, close quarters overtaking. It's a really nice feeling.
We do so much training. We have to work on our fitness, and we have to come testing on these cars just to find 1/10, because 1/10 could put you from being on the top to losing 5 places. So
Foot on the accelerator, drive. When you need to turn, put the brakes, and overtake when you need to overtake.
It is not possible to learn the lexicon without first learning the alphabet. In racing, the same principle applies when it comes to karting. Some of the greatest race drivers of our times have honed their skills and found their calling on go-kart tracks around the world. And then, only then, moved on to bigger and meaner machinery. In a country obsessed with a game of bats and balls, motorsport is still considered unconventional. Over the next few episodes, we are going to take you through our season's coverage of around 50 drivers, some old hands and some fresh stock, and their efforts to defy convention. I'm Abhishek Singh and we are here in Hyderabad for the opening round of the 11th Jk Tyre National Karting Championship. Roll clip. Jk Tyre's association with Indian motorsport began 3 decades ago, when the company took a conscious decision to lay down a long-term and sustained approach to promote Indian motorsport.
Back when we took this constructive decision that we are going to invest on motorsport, and the company got the whole package together. I was from the motorsport background, I was inducted in. We were from an era of rallying, and it was after 7 successive years that we realized that if you need to give a fillip to the sport, if you want the sport to be looked at by common man, you need to go back to the drawing board, you need to go back to a stadium sport. And that's how in 1997 we got this whole package together of racing, where we had a 800cc powered single-seater racing car, and we used to have Maruti Esteems as our saloon category. This is how we started, with very, very humble background. And as they say, rest is history.
And over these 3 decades, through the efforts of its motorsport division, the company has been associated with events in all forms of motorsport in India. From the Jk Tyre Rally of Coimbatore, which is part of the National Rally Championship, to the TSD format Jk Tyre Hornbill Rally held annually in Nagaland, and most recently to the Jk Tyre Arunachal Festival of Speed, held for the first time in 2014 in the town of Dirang in Arunachal Pradesh.
Happy to say that there are more entries here than a lot of national rally championships. So, I mean, Lakpa has done a great job, and it's we really look forward to supporting such events, and especially in the East where it's neglected, and where you only realize when you come here and you see the enthusiasm, the people who are fond of motorsport, they've got some fancy cars.
In the racing format, Jk Tyre has the distinction of hosting the Jk Tyre Racing Championship, which is now in its 17th year, and the Jk Tyre Rotax Max National Karting Championship, which has been going strong since the past decade and is currently in its 11th year.
Although there were some big boys who were kind of ready to take this game, but if you wanted the sport to find its feet, so we needed to get go-karting into India, and that was the same time in 97 December that we opened our first 4-stroke karting center, and this whole program then evolved on year basis. And in 2000 we also had our first karting championship. So even the karting program now is in its 14th year, and this racing program is in its 17th, actually 18th year, because first year we ran it as a contender to the championship. So it's been a long journey.
In all these years, it has been JK Motorsport's endeavour to break away from the elitist image that the sport has, and to make motorsport in India more affordable, at the same time to ensure that it is at par with international operating standards, and promoting Indian motorsport talent and making India a force to be reckoned with in the world of international motorsport.
You see, today we are in the bestest of situation, because I don't think we should look at this championship or any other scenario. We should look at Indian scenario, and we should be very proud that we have this fantastic entry level 100% Indian car, and as I said, is the cheapest form of racing that is available in the world. So come to the Indian driver. He has now got a program. He starts from 4-stroke karting in the backyard of his town, graduates to 2-stroke, graduates to LGB, graduates to the higher levels. So I would say if a kid has it in him, he can train himself in this country and actually now launch his career from F3 and above when he goes abroad, which was not the scenario earlier.
Akbar Ibrahim is the brains behind this karting series. The Jk Tyre Rotax Max National Karting Championship has grown from strength to strength under his watch. We caught up with the veteran race driver and asked him to reach back into hallowed antiquity and tell us about racing back in the day, the current state of affairs in Indian motorsport, and what he thinks about the series and his decade-long journey with it.
Even in the 2003, 2004, we were still pretty nascent. I think, you have to give a lot of credit to Jk Tyres, who came in and put forward the national championship, and they've supported it now for close to 14 to 15 years. And a long time back, we had only about 8 cars on the grid. And it's not easy for a sponsor to sustain that and spend money and run a national championship with limited cars and limited classes. But I think they also had the vision. They knew that there is going to be a growth in this particular sport. They stuck to their belief and they continued to support the championship. In what you see today has become a glorious racing championship in India, as well as a glorious karting championship in India. We introduced the Jk Tyre Rotax Max karting championship in 2004. I saw the need for it because when I was traveling on various assignments in motorsport, I could see the level of youngsters, and I went and visited a lot of karting tracks, understood what was going on and how these youngsters developed so much because of karting at this level. And then I went and met Rotax from Austria and discussed it with them and took the distributorship to introduce the Rotax engines in India. They have over about 50 to 60 distributors across the globe, and each distributor then is responsible to run the Rotax Max Challenge as per in the same format. So across 50 to 60 countries, you have the same championship running in their respective countries, same rules and regulations, and same engines. Now we have 3 categories, which is for the kids: the Micro Max, which is from 7 to 12, the juniors from 13 to 16, and the seniors from 15 and above. The engines are the same for everybody. It's sealed engines. You can't tamper with them. The micro engines produce about 12 horsepower, the juniors produce about 22 horsepower, and the seniors produce about 28 horsepower. We also have minimum weights so that the lighter guys don't get an advantage. So the equalization on lighter and heavier drivers takes place with a minimum weight category that they have for each class. When we started this championship, we started with a grid of about 15 to 20 drivers, and today it has grown to about almost, it fluctuates between 50 to 60 drivers from across the country. It's very satisfying to see that now we have drivers coming in from Bombay, Pune, Delhi, Calcutta, Northeast, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai. So we have a good spread. Tracks like these came up in due course, and then we were able to then move the circus into at least 4 or 5. In the championship, we were able to run it in 4 to 5 cities, not just focused on just one city. Now that helps because when you expose the sport to different cities, the population of that city gets more involved in the sport. So now when we have more tracks coming up in different parts of the country, the more people from that city, if Delhi's got a track now, more people from Delhi are going to get involved and get into this level of karting. If Bombay comes up with a track, then more people from Bombay are going to get involved, and that's how the whole sport will grow. The good thing about this championship is we also have teams. It's not restricted to just a monopolized situation where one person runs everything. Over the years, we've developed drivers who used to race have also started their own teams now. We've taught them, trained the mechanics so that they are able to develop their team, and more drivers have the opportunities to go to different teams and race for different teams, because you see, it's difficult for a team to cater to more than a particular number. Then the competition comes in, the team rivalry comes in. All this helps to grow the sport. Drivers compete with each other, the teams are competing with each other, so the level of the sport is going up. You see the skill level is going up quite substantially. The technology is going up all the time. It's always evolving. People are getting in more skill from nationally as well as internationally to engineer the cars. Mechanics knowledge is getting better. Job opportunities have started to get better now. You see, teams have to employ mechanics on a permanent basis. They have to employ engineers, team managers. Quite a few teams have got their own PR people who look after the PR. The social media is quite active. So you look at the whole growth that's taking place from a very infant stage. And I think in the next couple of years, you can see the outlook of the teams itself is a lot more professional now. You see every team has got its own team branding. The pits have improved to such a big extent. So the sponsors have really helped to make teams change their approach and change their outlook and get a lot more professional.
Welcome back. Now it all looks very simple. Wear your gear, get into the car and drive like there's no tomorrow. But life was never that simple, was it? Allow us to give you a breakdown of a typical karting weekend.
Each category gets 10 minutes of qualifying time, and that's micro, juniors and seniors. And then all the carts are fitted with the transponders, and we are noting their time. It's coming in the computer in the race control. At the end of the qualifying session, we have a result sheet. So whoever is fastest is on the pole position, followed by second, third, fourth and fifth. So all the result of the qualifying is only for heat 1. The result of heat 1 is the grid position of heat 2, and then clubbed heat 1 and heat 2 result, there are point systems. So the clubbed result of heat 1 and heat 2 is the grid position for pre-finals, and the result of pre-finals is the grid position for the finals.
The Micro Max category is where the fights are the hardest. Seeing kids fight it out brake pad and throttle brings joy of a kind that can only be experienced on a racetrack. And true to their nature, things heated up in the Micromax category from the word go. Yash Aradhya of Meko Racing began the final round from P12 after being bumped from behind and crashing out in the pre-final race where the grid positions were locked. Aradhya put up a stellar driving display and stole the limelight from the more seasoned drivers who took to the grid over the weekend. He won the 15-lap race after overtaking the entire grid in clean and precise maneuvers. His teammate Paul Francis gave Aradhya a tough fight and came in fractions of second behind the young lad.
The definition in the English dictionary of insane and crazy was our final race. It was really fun. There was constant changing of places. Yash did a really great job to get P1 from last. Very good. Yeah, overall just a great race.
Yeah, I started in the last position and my start was pretty good. I overtook few people in the start, and Chirag, Nikhil and many people crashed, and I overtook 4 people totally, and then I caught up to Shahan and Paul because they were fighting as well, so even I joined the fight, and then I won the fight and I won it.
The Junior Max category saw its fair share of action as well. It saw 2 drivers being penalized 10 seconds each by the stewards, while a third was excluded from the final list as he did not report for scrutiny after the race. Dark Dawn Racing's Kush Maini, who obstructed leader Ricky Donnison of BPC Racing during the race and finished first, was pushed back to the 3rd position after being penalized 10 seconds by the stewards. Protesting against Maini's rash driving, Donnison, in the heat of the moment and without realizing that it would end up being a grave breach of regulations, stormed out of the pit lane before his cart could be weighed. And that attracted a harsh sanction from the stewards.
And like the moves I was making on him were clean. What he would do to me, try pushing me off, which is why he got, that 10-second penalty. After the race, I sort of couldn't control my emotions, so I walked away from the weighbridge. Which is why I'm not, if it wasn't for that, I would be first.
Kush is a very good competitor. He's been racing for 5-6 years. So just to compete with him is amazing. And we enjoyed the race. Regulations are regulations. We have to live with it. And that's a learning curve as well. So it's a long way to go.
The lone lady on the grid, Meera Yarda of Dark Dawn Racing, was running in 3rd place, but had to pay the price after a back marker ignored the blue flag and did not give way. Akash Gowda of Meko Racing was declared the winner, followed by Reo Racing's Aro Ravindra and Kush Maini of Dark Dawn Racing.
Decent start because I came to 4th, and then I was behind Akash and I just couldn't overtake him. He's a really good driver and I appreciate that, but if I would have overtaken him, I would have been first, so that I regret that, but still overall a good start to them.
I started off 3rd, but then it went bad at the start. So I kept my pace. Slowly I improved. First 4 laps I was horrible. Everybody went past me. And then slowly I improved. and I got the best out of it.
The Senior Max category are the cowboys of the championship, accomplished kart racers in their own right. They formed a stellar grid comprising of multiple national champions and international karting and racing drivers. Their races were going to be close, fractions of seconds close. These guys would give breakneck speeds and perfect lines a whole new meaning.
The main thing and the most satisfying thing is to see the standard of karting, which has gone up quite a bit. I think everybody's noticed that the top 7, top 8 in each of these categories were all within, especially in the seniors, they're all within half a tenth of a second. And yeah, towards the end of the race, the gaps open up a bit and then you have bunches racing together. So just a mistake here and there will cost certain people some time. But overall, it was very satisfying because you can see the level of karting has gone up so much. The professionalism has come a long way. The teams are putting in a lot of effort. The parents are very supportive. They sort of encourage the kids a lot. And to see the fellowship and the sporting nature of all the boys who are driving is very aggressive, very competitive, but at the same time I think this weekend they held their heads high and maintained an excellent code of conduct and very good standards of driving.
The aggressive driving style of Mohite's Racing's Jitesh Mandodi had dominated the pre-final races. He came for the finals not just with the pole position, but also with a lot of confidence. But Mandodi's aggression could do little to hold back former national champion Ameya Bafna's class, as the Rayo Racing driver flew past Mandodi to take the lead and hold on to it despite being chased by the country's finest kart racers.
Engineer just kept telling me to keep it consistent and to finish in the top 5 all the time, and I think that just worked for me. It's really fierce competition out there, and I think the key to success is just keeping it consistent.
After the action-packed first round, the 11th Jk Tyre Rotax Max National Karting Championship moved to the airport karting track for the second round of the Hyderabad leg. And it was Krishnaraj Mahadik of Mohite's Racing whose aggressive driving and absolute domination of the Senior Max category to upstage more illustrious teammates and fellow drivers earned him valuable points and saw him jump to the head of the championship leaderboard. Mahadik started the race in 6th position and was off in a flash once the green flag was waved. Moving into 2nd place behind teammate Jitesh Mandodi, the pre-final winner. He kept the pressure on Mandodi through the tight corners, and eventually Mandodi was unable to handle Mahadik's hard charging and crashed out in the 10th lap, after which it was a one-horse race. The battle for 2nd and 3rd spot heated up between Dhruv Mohite, Vishnu Prasad and Nayan Chatterjee. Mohite proved to be no match for the more experienced and wily Prasad and Chatterjee's sleek lines. He succumbed to the pressure and Prasad finished 2nd. Chatterjee came in 3rd.
Throughout the race, like when it was about 15 laps to go, my engine was good. I started performing much better, and yeah, I caught Vishnu. We made a move on Dhruv, and I mean, I didn't want to really spoil my race by fighting with Vishnu. We were trying to catch Krishna, and yeah, we were pretty quick, and I'm really happy that I got the fastest lap time.
Actually a tough weekend because on Friday we weren't on pace. We were 5/10 off the top 5, and I never really expected the podium this weekend. I knew it was going to be a very hard weekend, but we made some setup changes going Friday night, and Saturday morning it was really good, and yeah, we kept improving the kart from there, and definitely it was much better, and I could fight for the top 3 or top 2.
We had the same pace. I got a good pace in the final, and yeah, Vishnu, Nayan, Dhruv, they were really quick, and I had to keep it up there. And yeah, I didn't let them catch me, but they were really quick, and like as they were fighting, I could manage to pull off.
In round 2, the Junior Max category saw a renewed tough battle between Ricky Donison of BPC Racing and Kush Maini of Dark Dawn Racing. Maini was leading throughout the race, and Donison was hot on his tail, displaying superb control and composure. Donison and Maini placed 1 and 2 on the grid, exchanged places multiple times. And then, this happened.
He was defending and doing really well into the hairpins and stuff. I couldn't get him on the cutback, but last corner I saw a gap and I went for it and it paid off.
I'm used to all this, but just I made a bit of a mistake in the last corner.